All right. So love knows no borders. Um, yeah, like all of us here in Internations, we're such an international group. So yeah, so truly love knows no borders, and probably many of us have been in intercultural relationships, multicultural relationships, and if you haven't, maybe you will be, in the future. So, okay, so first I'm going to talk about many different aspects of multicultural relationships. So first I'm going to talk about, the benefits of multicultural relationships. Then I'm also going to talk about the challenges in these relationships. And then, finally I'm going to talk about, what we can do, how we can find like the middle ground, right? With these, with the challenges in these relationships. So there's lots of benefits. So one benefit is being exposed to new countries, cultures, and beliefs. Another one is that you get exposed to different languages as well. And then you see different values and priorities, and it really opens up your world in all ways, being in a multicultural relationship. Um, so you can learn a new language or new slang of a language that you already speak. Like every, like there's like even English, the way that, English is spoken in the UK and the US, and, all the different slang words are different. Every country has different words. So you learn all of that. Then you get to celebrate lots of holidays together, right? Because you get to celebrate the holidays of your own country and then the holidays of your partner's country as well. And then you also like have two or more homes, because you feel connected to your own home country and then your partner's home country as well. And then there can also be like a third country. You can be from one country, your partner can be from another country, and then you can live together like in a third country, which is not the home country of either one of you. So yeah, so you have like two or three homes as well. You really get an expanded worldview. You can compare how different world events from history were taught or viewed differently in your two countries. Like an example of this being the American Revolution and independence of 1776. It's taught very differently in the US and in the UK. And I have personal experience about this because I went to international American schools. So I've seen, like how it's taught, in the US. And I've heard that in the UK, like it's not even a big deal. So yeah, so there's different ways of seeing different things in history. It's also a great reality check that the world doesn't revolve around your particular country, whichever country that may be, and that the fears, hopes, history, and focus of other cultures and countries may vary significantly from your own. So it's very refreshing, to get a different like worldview about things. One huge benefit is that you get to travel together a lot. So one of the best things about being in a long distance or cross-cultural relationship is that you will most likely travel to distant places that you might not have otherwise, and you make really nice life-enhancing memories together. And then when it comes to experiencing your partner's like place, they'll know all the best local gems, so then you couldn't have a better tour guide. So you get to see a place like not as a typical tourist, but you get to see like a country like with a local person. And of course you see it in a much better way that way. And then along with the traveling together, we all know that when we travel, like many times things don't go as planned. And you can have all kinds of challenges, and you can be tired, and it can be a rainy day. So in these kind of situations, it's a great opportunity to find out what you're made up of as a couple. Because when you go through challenges together, especially traveling, that's when you really see, how strong you are as a couple. And, Mark Twain said, there ain't no sure way to find out whether you like people or hate them than to travel with them. So you really get to see them like in a different light when you travel with your partner. So a cross-cultural relationship can be a truly great adventure, like in so many different ways. And then you can have better communication skills. Because you have differences in languages and culture, you quickly learn how to communicate more effectively to hear each other out and understand what the other is saying. Unlike a normal couple who grew up in the same culture and might assume they're on the same page when they're not, you've already practiced the skills it takes to be an empathetic and supportive partner by learning about and appreciating the other culture's viewpoints and never assuming you're seeing eye to eye without checking first. This is a huge bonus when it comes to arguments or heated discussions. As much as we would like all to wish that they don't happen, they do happen. So you've learned that you're wrong gets you nowhere, and help me understand where you're coming from is a much better solution. And then also you get exposed to new shows, music, and celebrities. You know, when you date somebody from another country or culture, it will open you up to a whole range of amazing music, shows, and celebrities you never knew existed before. And then you also get exposed to a lot of new food. You know, a whole new world of flavor opens up for you. So the saying goes that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. But it's also true that the key to a successful cross-cultural relationship is all in the stomach. So the benefit of having your partner share their country's best culinary classics with you is a huge plus. And probably many of you have already experienced this. And then you have a deep appreciation for one another. If your cross-cultural relationship happens to be long distance, and now like in the time that we're in right now, I mean, you can have like a relationship that's long distance where you actually, you know, live like in different countries and different cities. But now like with this lockdown situation, you know, you can be in the same city and have like a long distance relationship because, you know, because of all the restrictions, you know, that we have right now. So it's nice to go back to basics. You know, it's nice to go back to basics and to surprise each other. You know, like you can, you know, like writing and receiving letters. Like who writes letters these days? Like nobody does that anymore. And it's so like it's so special. You know, to get like a handwritten letter. You know. So it's wonderful to find a letter or a surprise waiting in your mailbox. I mean, you can send letters, you can send chocolates, flowers, all of that is still possible. And there are so many fun and creative ways to date and stay close while apart that you'd never have experienced otherwise. So yeah, so it's good to, you know, to be creative these days and find ways of surprising each other. And then if you have children, you know, you can have multicultural children. And, you know, they look universal, can easily adapt to any culture. They make friends with everybody. And they have adaptability and flexibility to other cultures. And they respect both diverse cultures and an integration into many others. So they become like truly, you know, global citizens, you know, like us here in internations. And then you introduce diversity to your family and friends as well. So when you're in an intercultural relationship, your mind is continually open to different ways of life. And one of the unforeseen side effects of this is that it positively affects your friends, family, and community. We introduce our friends to our respective cultures by sharing our travel experiences, inviting them to festivals, and making them try new dishes. Another important thing is that we break a lot of stereotypes, you know, and this is a very big one, you know, breaking the stereotypes, you know, because you can have like family and friends that say that, you know, all people from this country are this way, or all people from, you know, this culture are this way, and you can really break a lot of stereotypes that way as well. Okay, so there's also challenges with multicultural relationships. One challenge can be, you know, religions, having different religions. So having different religions can be challenging and is one area where you will need to talk openly about things and compromise on traditions and holidays. You know, for example, celebrating both Christmas and Hanukkah. And religion, like this is one thing that can really be like a really, really big issue in relationships. And sometimes relationships don't work, because of different religions. But this is something that, you need to talk really like openly and honestly about these things. That's the only way to get around it, really. you know and then you also have to, you have to like figure out what things you're going to compromise on, right? Because in all relationships, you have to find the middle ground and compromise on things. But like with multicultural relationships, it's even more. You have to compromise even more, and you have to find the middle ground even more. That's why having, really good communication is really, really important, especially with the challenging aspects. Another challenge is languages. Speaking a language that is not your mother tongue can have its challenges, leading to misunderstandings. Sometimes, there can be a couple where both of them, are speaking to each other in a language that's not their mother tongue, and that can cause all kinds of misunderstandings. And then again, the challenges with the languages, it can be very challenging not being able to communicate with your partner's family in the same language. So in this case, it's a good idea to learn some basic words and phrases of your partner's language. I mean, of course, many times, of course, they would be ideal for you to learn, your partner's, language. But if you don't, at least at the beginning, you can learn, some basic words and phrases, of that language. Because of course, learning a new language takes time and effort. So, but at least you can learn some basic words and phrases at the beginning. Another challenge can be feeling homesick. So, cross-cultural relationships or marriages sometimes involve one party relocating to the home country of their beloved. So, if you make the move, you can feel homesick. So, to counter this, keep in touch with relatives and friends, but also focus on putting down roots and building strong networks of friends in your new home. So, again, like this is about, having like two different homes. Of course, keep in touch, with everybody like in your home country, but then also make an effort, to build a new life, in your new country as well. So another challenge is dealing with prejudice. So it can be challenging to deal with prejudices or stereotype mindsets from family members or friends. And remember that you can't control what other people think. You can't control what other people think, say, and do. You can only control yourself in any situation. So the most important thing is for you to know how strong your relationship is. And when it comes to relationships, everybody's going to have an opinion about your relationship, right? And you're never going to have like a perfect relationship that everybody's happy with, right? So it's not about making other people like be happy with your relationship. It's about you being happy with your relationship, right? So I think that that's a really good thing to keep in mind. So dealing with prejudices can make a relationship stronger as well. Okay, so how to overcome challenges. So understand, respect, and compromise. Like these are really, really key words, to overcome challenges. You have to understand each other, you have to respect each other, and you have to compromise as well. So don't expect your partner to settle seamlessly into your way of life. Even if they're the foreigner and you're the native, you should see the relationship as a merging of cultures rather than that person adopting yours. Respect their differences, learn about them, and look at where you might have to compromise to help them feel happy. Relationships should always be about finding a comfortable balance. If one of you isn't making enough effort, then cracks will start to form. So again, it's about understanding, respecting, and compromising, and finding that balance. Like all of these words are like key, to making these multicultural relationships work. So get firsthand experience of each other's cultures. Visit each other's home country, learn one another's language, even if they speak yours, and read up about their religion and cultural history. Making the effort to get out there and experience life from their perspective shows that you care and that you want to know them better. Like this, if you're with somebody from another country, it's a good idea to show interest, about that country and about, like, the traditions and the history. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to, read up, know everything about that country's history, but it is good for you to take an interest, like that's, people really appreciate that. Like a partner would really appreciate that. There's a big difference in you being really interested in your partner's country than if you're not interested in that country at all. So the chances are a lot higher for that relationship to work if you are interested than if you're not interested. And show it, of course. And then if you have children, pass on both cultures to your children. The issue of children can be a big one for cross-cultural couples. How do parents from different heritages instill a solid sense of identity in their child? Instead of seeing yours and your partner's separate cultures as two different identities, see your relationship as one. Teach your children about both cultures and explore with them the differences between the two, focusing on how they work together and the positives that can be drawn from both. Rearing your children to be bilingual is also a good idea, so as not to alienate one half of your couple. So many times, multicultural children, can grow up speaking, many different languages, because, if you have like two parents from different languages, you have those two languages, and then if you live like in a different country, then you have a third language as well. Like in my case, like I grew up speaking English, Spanish, and Finnish. So yeah, so multicultural kids, tend to speak many languages as well. So again, how to overcome challenges. So think positively about your differences. And having a different perspective on life is a valuable thing, and you have so much to learn from one another. In all relationships, we learn so much about ourselves, about our partners, about relationships in general. And in a multicultural relationship, that learning gets taken to a whole different level. So see your differences as a good thing that enhances your relationship rather than a stumbling block. And also always remember, like, no matter what challenges you have, always remember the things that brought you together. Because you might have like many differences, but obviously there's a reason why you're together. So always like go back to those reasons, of like, yeah, why you decided to be together in the first place. Use humor a lot. Anybody that knows me knows that, like, I love humor. I love laughing. I even gave a laughter yoga session here in Injured Nations. And humor is really, really important, and especially in a relationship. So the cure for so many relationship problems, humor enables people to be frank and refreshing about potential problems. So by poking fun at your partner's bad English or unusual dinner table etiquette, you can highlight your differences in a way that draws you together. As long as you can take a joke yourself, humor is a great tool for overcoming potentially awkward situations. You can laugh about your differences. You can laugh about problems. Of course, depending on what it is. But humor and laughter are really, really, really important. So use humor and have fun together. Get around some of your differences by poking fun at each other's cultural differences. And rather than criticize, laugh at how you pronounce certain words. So educate yourself about your partner's culture and try to adopt some of their practices. And then dance together. Dancing is a great way of coming together as well. So dance together and teach each other different dances from different countries. You can teach your partner how to dance salsa, merengue, or tango, for example. Like in my case, I grew up dancing, salsa and merengue in Venezuela, and I love it. And actually, like, I know a lot of couples that have met, like taking dancing classes together. So it's a great way to meet a potential partner too, like once we can do dancing classes again. So good communication is key. Be open-minded and willing to learn, talk about what you will and will not compromise on. Discuss how future children will be raised, religion, schooling, language, visit to relatives, and above all, focus on what makes you both happy. Like that is really happy. That's really, really important. Focus on what makes both of you happy and forget about the judgments of the rest of the world. So what truly matters? So attraction, love, understanding, and shared values are ultimately the only things a couple needs to survive. Everything else can be worked on with good communication, compromise, and balance. So those are the keys. Attraction, love, understanding, and the shared values, will keep you together. And then, like work on the good communication, the compromise, and the balance, to work through challenges. So vision boards, I love finishing with vision boards, and especially now, like in January, it's a great way. It's a great time to do a vision board at the beginning of the year. You create a vision board with images of the life that you would like to create. You go through magazines and cut out images that you like. You think about the different areas of your life: relationships, self-development, career, travel, hobbies, health, finances, social life, family, fun, and creativity. So you think about all these, different areas of your life, and you go through a magazine and you cut out images that you like, and then like you create like this collage of like your dream life. And allow yourself like to dream big. Allow yourself to have like big dreams, even if you don't know how these things are going to happen. You don't need to know, because the most important thing is to have a dream, to have an intention. Then you also need to believe that it's possible for this thing to happen. And you also need to feel like you're worthy of receiving this thing that you want. And then when all of these aspects are aligned, the universe will bring people, events, and circumstances into your life, which will help you accomplish whatever you have on these vision boards. I've been working with vision boards for years, like with all my clients. I work with vision boards, and it's amazing to see the things that people have manifested in their lives, like creating vision boards. So put it in a place where you see it every day, and visualize yourself doing the things that you have on the vision board. And visualization is really powerful, because when you visualize something happening, like you don't know if it's happening for real, or if you're just imagining it. So it's a really powerful exercise, which I highly recommend everyone doing. And then stay open to magic. Stay open to magic and life surprising you. Life is full of surprises, and you just never know what's going to happen, even in these crazy circumstances that we live in. This too shall pass. We're not going to be in lockdown forever. So just think about the light at the end of the tunnel now. So I offer coaching sessions in English, Spanish, Finnish, and Italian. So you can get in touch with me. My email is lauracoaching@gmail.com, and my website is laurarinenkoski.com. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Laura. Before we'll create a breakout